Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Echelon Cycling Podcast, where we talk about what's been happening in the world of cycling, even in November, and look ahead to what's been happening in the future. And as always, I'm joined by Patrick Blake of Outdo Cycling and Mr. Crow himself, Ewan Wilson. And I mean, guys, it's quite thin on the ground, but we'll get through this. And we might as well start with the Tour de France 2025 is going to be starting in northern France, in Lille, apparently.
Yes, this is true. It was announced this week. It's heavily rumored that it's going to be in the north for a while, but it was officially announced this week that Lille, the city in northern France, will be hosting the Grand Départ. We don't know whether it's going to start with a time trial, road stage, or whatever. We know there's close proximity to cobblestones, which could make it very, very interesting indeed. I'd also love to see if the Roubaix Velodrome make a little bit of an appearance as well at some point through this Grand Départ. But I'll be honest, it's quite nice to see racing in the north of France. I really hate the city of Lille, personally. I think it's an awful place. I mean, it's a part of France that historically has had some strong ties, of course, with the Cobble Classics and also the great French champion, Jean Staplinski.
Do you think that they'll include the cobbled stage in the 2025 edition? So we've got gravel this year around Troyes. Let's say we have a rest year next year to rest cycling Twitter's insanity. And then we go into 2025 and we have a cobble stage through the Arenberg Trench. Can see it happening already. There's going to be chaos. There'll be tubeless tyres flying everywhere. But I agree with you, and I think it's good that we're going back to the north of France. It does feel like, of course, we're going to be missing it this year. So, well, this year, I mean 2024. So it'll be good to kind of get back there. When was the last time that we really had like a Grand Départ in the north of France? Was it like 2016, I want to say? I can't even really remember.
2016 was in Normandy. 2012 was in Liège, and we went kind of up into this part of France for a little bit. 2015, when we came across from the Netherlands, we had a couple stage then. There's a Dunkirk has hosted some Grand Départs in the past as well, but that's like, I'm talking 20 or so years ago now. So it's been a while since this corner of France has exclusively held a Grand Départ. Back when the Tour de France came to the United Kingdom in 2014 as well, there was a stage that finished outside the Decathlon Arena, as it's now known, in Lille, home of the French champions of 2022, LOSC Lille. I think that was 2022 anyway, outside their stadium. So it's also, this is Cofidis country. This is where Cofidis is based. This is their corner of France. They might put extra emphasis on this Grand Départ. And we're also super close to a lot of Belgium as well. So that should bring across some fans from Belgium, from the Netherlands, maybe even from the United Kingdom, if there is any interest in cycling there still. It is what it is. It would be cool to have international Grand Départs every year, but at the same time as the Tour de France, it should begin in France.
Well, the Tour seems to have a bit more of an emphasis on doing like harder Grand Départs, like the Grand Départ Tenza in 2024. Obviously, north of France isn't renowned for being the hilliest of places, so I'm guessing we're going to have a bit of a prologue, TT, sprint, cobble stage, something like that, is what I'm sort of guessing as a bit of a Grand Départ. This is literally years away, and I'm already thinking about what the stages might be. Might be a little bit excessive, but it's a dead week. We have to, we have to think of something.
I'm going to go out on a whim here and say we'll begin with the time trial, just because we've had road stages begin in 2023 and 2024, and it's the city of Lille that has sort of won the bid. So I suggest I'll probably make it like a time trial around the city of Lille, then have a road stage for stage 2. I personally really don't like that format because we're probably going to get a flat stage on stage 2 and no real GC changes. But it'll be cool to see them include some cobbles, even if it's not at the Roubaix cobbles. Instead, we have Cassel, for instance, where the French National Championships were this year, voted as one of France's most beautiful towns in a television show that's popular in France. And that's right up in the north of the country. It's a little sort of fortified medieval, I don't even know if it's medieval. It's a fortified town with a bunch of cobblestones on the top of a hill, but it hosts quite a lot of cycling events, and it's not far away from Lille, so that would be quite cool if they could get a stage finish up to Cassel.
I mean, it might start with a team time trial. That would be nice.
I just don't think the Tour de France hasn't done that. Not in my lifetime.
No, I mean, the Brussels one was fairly close. It came on stage 2. That was the one where Mike Jonassen won on stage 1, and then Jocko took stage 2 as well.
ASO just hate team time trials for some reason.
Because they're fun.
We could see them like do one of the spicy team time trials like at Paris-Nice, where they like
no.
format add-ins.
No, please no.
Yeah. Or they could do what the kings of team time trialing know, which is the Vuelta. They know how to put on a show with a team time trial, which is to put it in the dark and in the wet. And I think we should replicate this.
I mean, it's the north of France. It's dark half the time anyway, and it's wet half the time. So chances are we might even have a nighttime team time trial. But yeah, I mean, a lot of these northern starts we've had over the past couple of years, and I'm looking the past decade, usually start with prologues instead of road stages. So I'm just going to go on a whim and say it will probably be the same. Looking at Düsseldorf, Liège, Utrecht, Rotterdam back in 2010, I think we would just probably end up with a prologue. There's a lot of like, sorry to people of the people of Lille and Jonas. It's not the most aesthetically beautiful part of the world. So in terms of television time, and all the eyes that are going to be on that opening stage, having it sort of fixed on the city of Lille with that big art museum and other things that they have, maybe they'll try to emphasize that and make that the television spectacle instead of having a sort of a road stage through a pretty dull-looking countryside for most of the stage. If I'm honest, that seems quite harsh now, but it's true.
I can't wait for Josh Tarling to win this opening prologue in 2025.
I mean, yeah, and hello to his dad as well, who's subscribed to the channel as well.
Already called it. I'm already predicting it.
We don't really know anything else of the route, obviously, but the presentation of the Grand Depart is a few weeks away, so I'm sure we'll get back to this anyway. But it is the season of cyclocross, so we might as well just do our weekly stop by of that update. There is no match of Vanderpool, there is no Wout van Aert. There are schedules, or their schedules have been released, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But in terms of this week, were you following what was been going on?
Vaguely, I was following what was going on. It was in Troyes, was the kind of latest round of the Cyclocross World Cup. It was Ceylin Alvarado who won the women's event ahead of Puck Pietza, who hasn't been doing loads of cyclocross races, so she kind of came back and did her first one in a while. Fem van Empel is also just a bit AFK, doing some road riding from what I could tell from her Instagram. And then in the men's edition, Ellie Isabit won ahead of Lars van der Haar and Joris Nieuwenhuis. Also, like you say, Mathieu van der Poel, Wout van Aert, Pidcock not taking part, but you saw, there's been news about the Cyclocross the World Championships.
I mean, you're jumping the gun. I was going to add in, there's been a super prestige round as well, where Jordi Nieuwenhuis, he took the win in front of Ellie Isabit and Niels van Putte. So I thought, and Alvaro, she took the women's race as well in front of Lucinda Brand.
And Kat Ferguson won the junior women's, which is good because she's from near I am. Another Yorkshire contingency to be adding into the mix.
The Dutch rider, Thibaut Del Grosso, I think there's some hype about him. He's attached to the Alpecin Deceuninck team, but he won the under-23 race quite convincingly by 23 seconds down to second place. Anyway, might as well move on. Ewan just being awfully quiet during that round. But it has come out that apparently Wout van Aert and Tom Pidcock are not going to the World Championships in cyclocross this year, which will be held in Czech Republic, and seems a bit strange, no?
Yeah, why? Why is the question which I have, because firstly, at this point we may as well just hand the jersey to Mathieu van der Poel if he is deciding to go. But does it clash with a training camp, maybe, or some kind of media thing which the team is doing? I don't really know. It's not like these guys are, lining up raring to go for the Tour Down Under, which will only be kind of like a short distance of time afterwards. So for me, it doesn't really make sense, because these are two previous world champions on the cyclocross scene. So why would they not turn up?
Been a while to comment, really. It's a bit of a disappointment, and it also comes in the same week that there was a UCI statement about trying to encourage riders to come to more events as well in the cyclocross discipline. So, I mean, it's disappointing, but they have other goals. The riders can do everything. And really, is Tom Pidcock going to be Mathieu van der Poel in the World Championships? No. Fine with him skipping it out. Wow, I'm like, oh, come on, it's kind of your other big thing is cyclocross, but he's got a hefty road season ahead of him with the Giro on the cards for next year and the Spring Classics, apparently.
You think that with those two not going, there's a possibility Van der Poel also doesn't go. So therefore we get a bit of a surprise world champion going into it.
Because it's quite cool just for someone else to wear the jersey. I felt a bit like the Pidcock one as well. It was like, well, it's going to be someone else who wins this year.
Yeah.
Which is quite good to like free up the baton between Van der Poel and Van Aert. So yeah, I mean, we could have someone completely different who would never have this opportunity otherwise in their career.
I quite want Van der Poel to win the all-time record though, which he doesn't have currently. He's got 5 and Eric de Vlaeminck has 8. So he would still need to win 4 more titles if he's going to take it. And if his 2 chief rivals are not going, this is like an open goal almost.
Bit of weird.
Republic isn't that far away. Like at least the Pidcock one, it was because it was across the pond. Here it's just a Wizz Air flight and you're there in an hour.
And it's cheap as well. So think about it that way. Czech Republic's cheaper than lots of other places that are hosting World Cup events and so forth. You'd think going to the Czech Republic would be more viable than some of these other things that popping up on the schedules. But for a World Championship, I'll be disciplined to not have 2 of the 5 biggest stars. I mean, big 4 here is Van der Poel, Van Aert, then Pidcock and Ace. And to not have Van Aert if we don't have Van der Poel, Van Aert and Pidcock, it's just Nace, then it's a bit crap for a World Championships, which is supposed to be the highest level of competition for this discipline.
I mean, if we look back, many of these World Championships obviously are attached to a World Cup event for the most part, and this is attached to the Tabor World Cup as well. Last year we had Ilya Iserbyt win it. The year before, Lars van der Haar, Michael van Toorhout the year before, and then Mathieu van der Poel 2 years before that. But obviously he's a bit more prominent on the road. We also had David van der Poel win this race, so...
So Van der Poel can still win, even if Van der Poel doesn't go.
What about Thibaut Nace?
Thibaut Nace win.
Yeah, Nace wins if the other ones don't come, I would say.
I just don't understand why Van Aert is not going. It's probably like you said, Ewan, because of their long season, but does he want a bit of rest before going onto the road? I mean...
Don't forget, he's got a new child as well.
Oh, yeah, true. I forgot about that fact. To be fair, has anybody seen Julian Alaphilippe really do anything good since he's had a child? He won that stage of the Dauphiné, I know. But the point is, your form goes when you have a kid.
What?
Van der Poel's done so well.
Yeah. Vingegaard has a child and he got better.
Exactly. That's why none of that makes sense.
Sleep is so important. Like all these riders are talking about their Oura rings and their sleep. And if you have a crying baby, I have a crying baby living downstairs from me in my apartment block, and it ruins my sleep, you know. And if you had a crying baby next to you every single day, I'm sorry, that's gonna wear Wout van Aert down. So, just all I'm saying, it's gonna be difficult for him in the new year. It's gonna be sleep deprived. It's gonna ruin him.
Wait time to come out that you're a father.
I don't have children. I just want to clear this up. I don't have kids. If I do, this is a surprise to many people. I am not paying childcare, child support. Yeah, what a shock. No. Anyways, let's move on.
Yeah, okay. But is Mathieu van der Poel going to do this race now if he's going to have a heavy year as well as world champion?
No, because Van der Poel's got panache, so he'll turn up.
He definitely will. He's going to wipe the floor with everyone.
Because Jumbo-Visma are boring, and therefore they are constraining Wout van Aert doing boring things.
Are you disappointed in Pidcock, though?
Never. No, I am a little bit. It does feel like he probably should go. I mean, we don't even know. I mean, they barely do any cyclocross racing as it is. Like, they all start in December and stuff, whereas all, like, the other dudes are entertaining us for at least a month before, so it does always feel a little bit like a cheap below the belt that they just turn up for some of them as it is. I'd just rather just commit to a cyclocross season or not.
Yeah, it's been a while since they won the World Cup or the Super Prestige competitions outright. Yeah, we might as well move on. You want us to stay away from all things cyclocross. And I mean, speaking of worlds, the World Championships will be in Switzerland. We spoke about that last week while Patrick was out in Utrecht. And, well, there's been speculations now. Could Jonas Vingegaard, who's actually a resident of Switzerland now, could he potentially win it and become the first Dane to win since Mads Pedersen?
Personally, I don't think so.
Rude.
I know. I'll start with a big I don't think so. To be honest, I just think that we're missing proof of Vingegaard as a one-day racer. Yeah, he won that stage in the Rhone Valley, that classic in the Rhone Valley 2 years ago. But that's one, and it's not the highest level of racing. I think there are more legitimate contenders in terms of Wout van Aert and Tadej Pogacar and so forth, who are also on the start list. I just don't think we've seen enough from Vingegaard over a 200 plus kilometer long one-day race. I just don't think he has that race savvy. Oh, is that harsh?
Say it.
The World Championships is such a difficult race, and you have to be really good at tactics to win it. And I just Vingegaard happens to be on the best team in the world, and sometimes I think his tactics personally are very different to the team's tactics. I think he's on a team that are very good tactically in Jumbo-Visma. If he was on a Danish national team where they've got other guns as well on that team, and it's a different sort of director working with him, I'm going to say it, Vingegaard does not win it. It's the same kind of debate we've had with Froome as well in the past and other Grand Tour contenders. The closest we got was Nibali really as a Grand Tour contender back in 2013 when he was right up there in contention at the World Championships in Italy. I just do not think we're going to see Vingegaard on that final podium in Zurich next year, even if he does have his glitzy new Swiss residence permit.
I mean, Valverde won it in Innsbruck, and he was a GC contender, and Romain Bardet was second.
Okay. But Bardet podium Liège-Bastogne-Liège, and Valverde had won it multiple times. Jonas has not podiumed the Monument yet. I think you need to really be up there in contention for a Monument to be considered a contender for the World Championships. It's quite rare to really see people just jump into the Worlds and make a big splash. Even Mads Pedersen, he was up there in a Monument before his surprise World Championship victory in 2019.
However much I do agree with you, Ewan, I will play devil's advocate. And
Not devil's advocate. You're playing the good side if you're going for Vingegaard.
Because Jonas is so bad at one-day races, nobody will expect him to absolutely launch it with 80Ks to go and win solo. Because they'll just be like, he's got no idea what he's doing. We'll bring him back. No problem. I mean, he might just solo off. I mean, I saw a video earlier today where Pogacar said that he talked to Jonas towards the end of the tour this year and said, if you did like an Ardennes race and you race like you've been racing here, you'd probably do really well. To which I don't know what Jonas said in response, probably something like, don't be so daft, doing something so entertaining. That's absolutely ludicrous. I'd like to see him actually give it a crack, to be honest. I mean, who else? Pedersen, I'm not sure how hard the climb is, but I would say that the course is too hard for Pedersen, so therefore their leader would be Skelmoser after that. But I would just like to see Jonas give it a go. But it's a freaking long race, isn't it? It's like 270 Ks. It's mental, and it's hilly like all day. It's not just like flat, and then some, distance at the end. It's not like a San Remo. It's like hard all day. So maybe the continued climbing will help Jonas, possibly, to play slightly the other hand of the argument.
I'm going to say this now. Let's bookmark it for 12 months' time. Skelmoser gets a better result than Vingegaard.
I mean, yeah, he probably...
Skelmoser is more likely to podium than Vingegaard.
Yeah, he probably is. A lot of people are more likely.
But Vingegaard moved to Switzerland to do reps of the circuit every single day. So by the time we come there, he'll be amazing.
Rito Rodriguez literally designed a Vuelta stage in 2015. He didn't win it.
I mean, Rodriguez's time was in 2012. He should have won that Vuelta.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, don't open that one.
I enjoy the course of the World Championships because it's very borderline between quite a lot of riders. It overlaps with a lot of different types of people. Obviously, Pogacar and Van Aert are like the standout people, but I think there's going to be a big mix of maybe some GCS riders in there, maybe some classic style riders who really improve on their climbing. I think you're going to have a big mix in there. And I'm still thinking about Jonas. If he comes off the tour just flying, maybe he could do something. Obviously, like you say, his tactical nous is going to have to actually come into play, which will hopefully further reinforce my opinion that Jonas Vingegaard does not have better racecraft than Tadej Pogacar, which people seem absolutely hell-bent on disagreeing with me with for some reason. But we'll wait and see. A year's time, we will know everything.
The climb's only 1.9 kilometers. Okay, it is 276 kilometers, but...
How steep is the climb?
It's 6.2% average. Oh, well, the circuit one.
It's so built for Pogacar, though. That's going to be too much for Van der Poel. But it's like we really lack nowadays those like the Alaphilippe punchers from like a few years ago. We really lack those specialist punchers now, where all the punchers are also like GC riders, basically. So you're just going to end up with this like massive just haul of like GC riders doing well, which is why I kind of think that Jonas could be in there, because if he's just surrounded by a load of GC boys, he'll be like, this is all just like pretty chill, pretty same to what I'm used to. But yeah, Pogacar's just got like the kick. I mean, Evenepoel as well. If he like Evenepoel's going to be a big candidate in here as well. But yeah, you don't really have like those Alaphilippe, like pure guys who you'd launch at the bottom of like a Mur de Bretagne to win, which is why I think it's going to be such a good race. Do we want to give a prediction as to where we think Jonas is going to finish?
Go for it.
I'll go with 18th.
I'm going to go for 23rd.
Well, I'm obviously not going to predict him to win because then you won't win. So I'm going to say 3rd, and then he wins.
I thought Ewan was just going to say DNF, to be honest.
Oh, that could be on the cards. He might not even start. DNF doesn't start. It's too, like, this just, no. I'm not, yeah, I don't believe it. DNF, he doesn't do it.
Has he actually done a Worlds? I'm not sure he has.
Not on the senior elite level, at least.
I'm not sure what the TT course is like, but in theory, he should do that. Right? I think
yeah, but then, like, Froome didn't do the Worlds in the TT, really, until 2017. And that was because that was a course that really suited him. I just don't think Jonas will do it.
It's so boring.
Yes, it is.
He should have done the Sterling one. He probably would have won.
No, he wouldn't have.
80 kilometers on a TT bike. That's what he did.
Okay, so looking at Jonas Vingegaard, the last World Championships he did was in 2018. That was at the under-23 level. A race that was won by Mark Hirschi. Runner-up was the late Björn Lambrecht. And he finished in 64th place.
Oh my God. It was so bad.
Yeah, but this is different Vingegaard. Maybe he wasn't peaking for it.
To be fair, yeah, that was like the Vingegaard who had he even won that Tour of Polonia stage by that point?
No, but he won the Polonia stage the year after.
Oh, there you go. That's where he kicked off. That was the beginning of the Vingegaard that we all know and maybe love, maybe
we all know and acknowledge.
I think Denmark were actually working for someone else during that day as well.
So I'm trying to justify it. Come on.
I'm pretty sure they were working for someone else.
The best Dane was Miguel Honoré, who was in 21st.
Well, there you go. They weren't working.
Yeah, I was in 37th. Jonas Vingegaard 44.
But I mean, we might as well end with a really sad story. GCN Plus is no longer a thing as of 19th of December. I don't know what you guys make of this. I think it's a weird decision by the Warner Brothers. And who knows where we're going to be watching racing from.
Is it just done by whatever so that we all buy Discovery Plus instead, basically? Is that what the whole gist is? Because I think we can still watch it on Discovery Plus, which is going to be like £7 a month rather than the very bargain, 40 quid a year from GCN Plus if you bought the annual pass, which is really good value for money. I don't know whether it's just a move from them to try and get us to get Discovery Plus so we watch more of their stuff rather than just bike racing. I don't know. It does seem like a really weird move because I did enjoy the service and I am going to be very upset and sad that it's gone for next year. It was a cornerstone of the sport.
Exactly. This was something that was forged out of COVID with the GCN race pass. Then it became Plus with all those films and so forth they had available on the platform. But there have been huge changes at Eurosport, now bought out by Warner Brothers Discovery. Even Eurosport in itself, we don't know what the future of that is. We believe it's part of the big TNT Sports merger that's happening with BT Sports and a bunch of other channels. Even if you watch sort of European football at the moment, it's on TNT instead of the old BT Sport, at least in the United Kingdom. There seems to be a Europe-wide thing that they're really shifting their broadcasting rights. They're wanting to push this Discovery Plus platform, which is a bit like sort of the HBO Plus and whatever, like those kind of American-style streaming platforms. They seem to have loads of different ones that you have memberships for. It's a shame that we don't have a cycling dedicated one. We will be back onto sharing a platform with ski jumping and motor racing and all these wonderful sports that Eurosport seem to have the broadcasting rights for. But it is also, I mean, going to be bad financially as well because we will have to pay for Discovery Plus, that subscription instead of the GCN Plus one. Also, it does come with a lot of job losses at GCN, the company itself, and it wasn't their choice to shut GCN Plus down, particularly as a lot of people worked in it a lot over the past 2 years. This includes the app as well. which will be shut down in December. And I think a lot of people at GCN as well seem to be rather sort of shaken up by this news. Yeah, it's kind of the higher ups on the capitalist ladder seem to be making these calls, and us little tiny cycling consumers are the ones that will pay the price, quite literally, in the coming years. Also, in terms of the quality of the coverage as well, because we had it's niche. So to have that niche really facilitated online and on this specific app was quite, refreshing and very, very nice for our silly little sport. But now we have to go back to, Discovery Plus, and maybe even going back to, or dare I say, online pirated streams. Those who watched cycling 10 years ago will know of certain sites very well, such as Tis Cycling, where you could watch the racing for free on a little bit of a lag, but it is technically illegal. These sites will surely make a comeback after they sort of died off during the GCN Plus era. That was 2020 to 2023.
Are we actually going to be able to watch like the likes of Tour of Slovenia, Tour of Denmark, just watching it in the Danish TV? But in terms of Tour of the Alps, like all these smaller races, are they going to be shown?
Those ones aren't the ones I'm worried about. It's like the really small, like this French circuit. Does anyone really care about the French circuit races? But like French circuit races and like these really small races that don't get any English language coverage apart from that GCN Plus coverage that really stepped up in the past sort of 2 years, where they weren't getting any English language commentary at all. And now we're going to be back to just having a single French stream online, and we have to go on a pirated website to watch racing in Flanders only in Flemish through sports streams. Like it is a huge sort of backstep for cycling, but I imagine someone up above has looked at a balance sheet and saw that cycling wasn't as profitable as they once thought. The cycling boom, at least in the United Kingdom, is starting to fade post-COVID. We thought the cycling was really on the up, but it seems to be sort of stagnating and not as promising and blooming as we thought it could be. There's been a lot of sort of big industry changes, industry news coming out as well in the past couple months of more job losses and so forth. We're in an economic crisis as well with, war in Europe and recovering from COVID and so forth. So it's maybe once everything sort of heals in the economy, maybe we will return to having better niche content. But for now, it's looking like we're gonna sort of be lumped in with TNT, Warner Bros. Discovery for the coming years.
Capitalism, ladies and gentlemen.
Even Wiggle, that was a huge news a few weeks ago that they're liquidating or they've gone bankrupt or whatever.
Scene's dead.
Yeah, it's not exactly great news as a cyclist. Your favorite app is gone. Your favorite place to buy things is gone as well, or is going.
And every moment, every ride that I go on, I go out and I get cold and wet and I come back miserable. It's a great time to be a cyclist.
We need to end on a high.
Ride of the week.
Yeah, exactly. Ride of the week. Is it going to go to a cyclocross rider, or is there someone else who's deserving of it?
I'm going to bag Joris Nieuwenhuis straight away.
Even though you didn't know he won a race?
I've never really finished third today, and then you informed me that he finished first in a super prestige race. So therefore, good stuff from him. Kind of taken a step up in the cyclocross this year. I don't think he was as good last year, so good to see that him and kind of Ron Haar, who'd won a race, and Elizabeth, they're all doing really good for Trek Lions.
I honestly have no idea who to give it to. Alvarado, the other easy choice. Scott picked her last week.
Second in a row. Is she gonna get like the record for the most in a row?
The thing is, I don't think at this point of the year it's very slim pickings. It's just whoever's won the one race that we have this week, or someone who's had really good news.
Well, I'm picking our first ever Chilean winner. He took the third stage of the Vuelta Ciclista Internacional at Guatemala. Pablo Andrés Alarcón. Well done. But anyways, that is it for this episode, episode 43. Thank you for staying tuned over the winter months with us. Make sure to hit the like button, comment down below as well, and subscribe to the channel here on the YouTube. And if you haven't already, please give us a 5-star review on Spotify, because that helps, I think. But yeah, that's basically it for us. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next week.